Hi Libra, welcome to your mid-September to mid-October reading. Happy early birthday. I took a few days off that I really needed. I hope Virgo season has been treating you well. 6 of Wands in reverse. As of the 14th, in a few days here, Mars moves into your sign and gives you all the energy, but also all the problems. Gives you the energy, then gives you the problems. And you've got to figure out what order you want to solve those problems in. One of the biggest issues you may have is that you are very close to the finish line when it comes to something, a project, a relationship, getting what you want somehow. And it is human nature to want to rush ahead and do the last little bit. But if you come off as too easy to get right now, you may spoil something that was going to work out just fine if you had left it alone. So, being very careful not to get in our own way. It's so very easy for people, especially after the 14th, for people to misunderstand you. It's so easy. It's not even like you're saying anything wrong. It's just, I think that people are a little bit confused as to your intentions and what you want to do with all the luck and all the abundance that's being handed to you. It's as if people feel that they are entitled to some information or say in your life. Just because you are polite with them. That Tower card is also referring to a lot of emotional moments, especially after the 16th. You have this epiphany somewhere between the 16th and the 27th. You gain a lot of emotional clarity, but the Tower moment has to happen first, you know. First, what you thought was the thing is torn down. And then the truth of the thing comes forward. And then we have the Chariot. You know, along with this emotional clarity comes the ability to solve some long-standing issues, something perhaps that's become stuck over time in proud toxicity. There's a chance to really have a heart connection and find your way to mutually beneficial solutions. You may also feel at this time that the world is really opening up to you as far as your fate goes. The opportunities the world is presenting you put you so right on, exactly on the right road, and you feel very supported. You feel that luck all around you. You feel that every time you take on a new challenge, it course corrects you even more onto this road, onto what is your best possible reality. And if you keep just going with it, if you don't mind the uncertainty, if you get used to the risk of it, if you accept the fact that a lot of this comes through emotional moments, then it looks like all the doors are open to you. Well, okay. The Chariot also implies cooperation. You know, you are allowed to have fun with and work with and complete things with others. You're allowed to have friends. You don't always have to be solitary when it comes to dominating the work environment. You can shine just by letting other people shine. Think about it a little bit. You are all working together, okay? And as long as you keep working together, there is this momentum you can feel building. And the doors keep opening up. But these doors and that momentum has everything to do with trust. People can be that way with you, and situations can run smoothly when we feel no doubt as to another's intentions about us. If you happen to throw someone under the bus in the next 4 weeks or so because it's good for you, especially in a work situation where it helps you get ahead, but is terrible for that person, that will come back to be something very alarming and upsetting and has long-standing consequences. So we just want to either do the thing or say we couldn't do the thing, but we definitely don't want to blame anyone else for something that we couldn't get done. Didn't want to get done. Even that's okay. Just don't blame anyone else needlessly. It's really one of the only pitfalls that I see here. You know, so much is going to change in the next 6 months for you, inshallah, that you may not want to go out and spend a bunch of money to update your style or to shop for the job you want. Or I think you should just hold off. I think you should save your money and wait until your next opportunity becomes clear to you before you spend any money, especially when it comes to money being used to change the surface image. Wait and let the surface image emerge organically. First, let the opportunity come in. After the opportunity is discussed, recognized, then think about it. Take the time without sadness, okay? Very important, without sadness. Take the time to be alone and really think and balance yourself out. For you, being alone is where you find that balance, especially after the sun moves into your sign, especially after Mercury goes retrograde. People won't understand it, but it's your way of not forcing anything. It's your way of going through very painful healing. It's your way of regenerating. You must find that time alone to create and manifest the big things. You must find that time alone to balance and heal, to be able to take the risks, to be able to face our own truths and the truth in others. A huge key here. You must make lots of time to be alone. Because in the time when you're supposed to be alone, if you're around other people, with the way this is processing for you, you're going to end up saying things you don't mean. They're neither here nor there. That person just basically got in the way. We don't want to pick any of that up. We want to focus on our journey and this deep, transformative, emotional time that you're going through. And we want to see it as a positive and continue to work with it as a positive. A means to finding that really beautiful sense of solitude within self, where we learn so much and so many of the lights are turned on. Good. I love you.
Hi Libra, welcome to the second part of your reading. As I have done in a few videos prior, I would like to offer my apologies for the video being late. I have been going through some family issues and my head just wasn't clear enough to do the work. So begrudgingly, I had to take a few days off against my will because I just needed to pull some energy. And I'm really sorry that I couldn't do it before now. But Mars moving into Libra, switching to you, did give me quite a lot of energy to solve the problems. And since you are Libras, I don't mind telling you that it seems like most of my problems will end on September 21st, inshallah, which is the beginning of Libra season, and it is not lost on me that justice, inshallah, hopefully will prevail on that day. So now let's talk about you. As of the 14th, you may have felt like all the problems are being dropped in your lap. You want so bad to just keep going with your flow and with your routine and with your success and your upward mobility. And it's so annoying when it seems like everyone has brought their problems and dumped them in your lap and you're the one who has the energy to solve them. So by default, you become the one that takes responsibility. It's almost too easy to rope you into drama right now. It's almost too easy to rope you into a fight. It's way too easy to get you into a romantic situation that ends up being super toxic, because this Mars energy, it gives you such a drive. It gives you such a singular forward moving focus that it's hard to discern between what's a good movement forward and or the way, let's put it the way that I Ching puts it. Sometimes an invitation to dance is actually an invitation to jump off a cliff. Okay, so it's very hard for you to discern between what's a good forward movement and what's not very beneficial. It's also very easy, as of the 27th, for people to completely misunderstand you. And because we're in the shadow of the retrograde, of Mercury retrograde now, you may already be feeling this. Thus, the Six of Wands and the Tower. You're trying to move forward, Six of Wands. Why does it feel like it's upside down and going the wrong way? Don't understand. It's leading to all these Tower moments. What the hell is this? I'm just moving forward. I'm just solving problems. I'm just getting stuff done. There are so many emotions that have been batted down and not addressed, just completely unacknowledged. And Mars enters your sign, and has entered your sign, apologies, and it all just begins to lay itself out in front of you, all these different emotional hurdles that you have to run over, and you're going to want to do it. You're going to want to solve it all, or always have to keep in mind the Libra duality, or you're going to want to run away from all of it. But you do have this deep-seated sense of commitment, so I don't really see you doing that. I think the ones of you who will do that probably needed to run from that situation much earlier anyway. but you're not, in any way upset by these emotional hurdles. You want it. You have this vision for your life. And there are things on that list, and you're willing to do, whatever is sane to keep what's on that list. You have a very clear path for your life. You have a very clear path for your success. You are a very hardworking person. You have responsibilities either to children or family or, however this Six of Cups plays out for you. And you take it all so seriously that it's very hard for you to accept the fact that something's not going to work. You're like, no, if it's in my plan, it's going to work. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to do what I have to. And in the spirit of this, on the 16th, you start to gain, on the 16th, you started yesterday to gain some clarity, some emotional clarity. And instead of letting it bog you down and letting it overwhelm you, because even emotional clarity can be overwhelming. You still got to feel all these emotions hit you like a truck, right? It can be paralyzing. It can be stunning. All this stuff happened. These cups spilled, and now I have to stand here and look at them and watch this liquid seep into the ground and be gone forever. Watch this life essence that I built up with this person or this job or this sibling or whoever it is, and I have to watch it just drain away, and I can't do that. The emotional clarity comes in and you start talking. The arguments you've been having or the misunderstandings you've been having, they resolve themselves. You get a little peace of mind. You see harmony coming back into your life, and you're like, all of this was worth it. And I'm a big believer in divine timing. And so, not to absolve myself for the video being late, but as I'm talking, it's occurring to me that if I had told you this stuff 2 weeks ago, it might have had an adverse effect. It may be the best thing for you that you had to jump those hurdles for yourself, because you understand what your drive is for doing that. I may have given you that information, and you may have taken that as a way to not jump those hurdles. Do you see what I'm saying? But you did. You did jump those hurdles, and you did accomplish something really amazing. And the next few days are going to play out and show you what you accomplished. And that's this harmony and peace of mind that we're talking about. The Hermit card here, that Virgo energy that you've been dealing with all these days, that Hermit energy, it's about, Virgos are about community. They're quite social. They like to be surrounded by people. They like being a part of a team. They like being a part of a group. And you've picked that up in this season. You've become, and you can ask around your friends and family, over the course of the last few months, and for some of you, shockingly, over the course of the last few weeks, you've become much more team-oriented. You've learned how to really lean on people and trust them, because the thing is, even if a Libra is a part of a team, the Libra is always going to do what the Libra wants to do, because the Libra is the only one who knows what's going on. This is the Libra thinking. But when you really truly begin to lean on a team and you let others make decisions, it can reduce your stress and worry so much. And I think you've reached that point. I think you've grown and evolved to the point where you trust yourself enough that you trust your choice in people. And that has a lot to do with what happened up here too, because the trying times that you went through, the misunderstandings, the emotional hurdles, the discontent, it all has led you to a place where you trust yourself more, because all through this process, the one thing you didn't do is give up. You pushed through. You kept making the effort. You didn't give up. And I think your team became integral during this period. You had to lean on people. It's when you had to lean on them and you had no choice that you discovered, hey, this is a stable structure. I can lean on this thing and it doesn't cave in. And so you're walking out of September having grown and evolved so much. You're so much more likable, and you're already so likable. You're so much more trustworthy. You know why? Because it's really hard to trust perfection. You can't relate to perfection. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. It's going to seem long-winded and like there's no point to it, but trust me, if you listen to my podcast, then you know that I always bring it back around. So I've told this anecdote quite often, but I think it really applies here. Years ago, there was or is, I'm not sure if the company still exists, but there was a fashion house called St. John Marie Gray. St. John by Marie Gray was a clothing line for, let's say, conservative women. Okay, it's a lot of like, what's it called? Resort wear and, ball gowns and stuff, like fancy, not ball gowns, but like cocktail dresses and dresses you would wear to charity events and such. Luxe, So years ago, they had this brilliant idea that they would cast Angelina Jolie in one of their campaigns. And it was when she was at her height of, popularity, sexuality, accessibility. Everyone knew her name. Everyone knew who she was. Not that they don't now, but she was really at her zenith. And St. John thought that they had done a very smart thing. Now, the result of that campaign was so shocking that it actually caused publications like the New York Times and others to write about it. And that's how I found out about it. The shocking part was that the campaign completely flopped. No one bought the things that she was modeling. In fact, I think the sales for that season were quite low. Now, this was really confusing because she's so beautiful and she's so popular and famous, and again, she's on fire and she's in all these movies and there's Brad Pitt and all those other stuff. So why wouldn't it just make sense that it would drive traffic, right? But it didn't. And the reason was, and this is where you come in, the reason was that people couldn't relate. Women couldn't relate to her. And the thinking went something like this. Why would I buy those gloves? Why would I buy that dress? I'm never going to look like that in that dress. She was so beautiful in those photos and is still, mashallah, very beautiful. She was so beautiful that it was alienating. She was so close to what women at the time thought perfection was, because as we know, the standards of beauty change constantly, that they couldn't pull off the mirage that is advertising. And advertising works on this idea that if you buy the thing that you see in that ad, then you can as also have that life, look like that, live that lifestyle, have that vibe. But for some reason, all those gorgeous black and white photos of her, it didn't make you feel like you could buy that vibe. It didn't make you feel in any way. She wasn't relatable at all. It didn't make you feel like if I bought those gloves, if I bought that dress, I can have that vibe, I can look like her. Because you can't. Because what was being portrayed in those photos was so intimidatingly perfect. And if not perfect, let's leave that word to the side, so incredibly beautiful that it was alienating. It wasn't inviting. It didn't make people want to be like her. It made people feel like they could never be her. And in the process, created a sense of almost resentment toward the product. Because the product was definitely not wearing her. She was wearing the product. Those photos aren't about the gloves or the dress or the earrings or whatever else they had her in. Those photos are about her. The campaign, the clothing, the designer, they're an afterthought. Long afterthought. Why I tell you this is because I know you strive for perfection. Let's not forget that there was a time when Virgo and Libra were one sign. I know that perfection is this ideal that you work towards and you can't even help it yourself. But I also know that you have moments of great self-loathing when it becomes apparent to you that you're not. And it is those moments that I would like to relieve you of for the rest of your life. And this is how. Those moments where you feel like you are not perfect, those moments where you feel like you failed on this lifelong mission, are the only moments that make you relatable as a person. For the rest of the time, we watch you like an audience from the outside in your gilded box, on your gilded stage. You are removed from us. You are beautiful. You have it together. You are smart. You are quick. You are super well dressed. You are sophisticated. But just like Angelina in those photos, we can't relate. As a Gemini, I can tell you, I can't relate. I've got a sister-in-law who's a Libra. Bitch, I still haven't figured out what her skin routine is. All I know is that she keeps to it. She's got the most beautiful skin I've ever seen. Is it relatable? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not to someone, not me anymore, but a few years ago, not to someone who forgets that they have a skincare routine. You see what I'm saying? Not someone who doesn't own an iron. Like, there's a lot of us out here who are just normal. We're not waking up every day with this internal engine burning, pushing us towards this ideal. That person we watch, but we don't know them. We can't relate to them. But when you stumble and fall on that gilded stage, when your makeup isn't quite perfect, when you say the wrong thing, when you have some kind of an issue, I know how this sounds. When you have some kind of an issue in your life, it's not that we're happy about those things. It's just that for a moment, you're human. And when you're human, it makes us feel better because we're like, okay, even they're human. Even she's human. Even he's human. Even they're human. Even they have days like this. They don't have as many as the rest of us do, but at least they have some. Right? Do you remember in the Matrix where the agent, I think it's in the second Matrix, the agent cuts Neo and he says, only human. Because they were afraid of him after the first one. They didn't know what the hell he was. But that moment where he cuts him, he realizes, okay, this motherfucker still bleeds. This is only a human. We need those moments. Just like it inspired, I don't want to make us to the agent in this particular analogy, but okay. Just like that agent felt better and more confident in fighting Neo after he saw him bleed, that's how we feel. When you overcome something and for a moment, maybe you're not doing everything exactly right. That's when we get to connect with you and we gain a little bit of that confidence that you have so much of. So don't look back on the last 2 weeks and think, oh, what have I done or what have I been doing or what? Don't do any of that. Don't do any of that. instead, rejoice. Rejoice in those moments of imperfection. Rejoice in the painful healing that follows. Rejoice in the solitude you take to regain your balance. Rejoice in even the secrets that come out. Because for you, the secret that comes out is very simple. It's nothing too complicated or scandalous. The only thing by the end of September that comes out about you is that you're only human. And that's a good thing. So regardless of how you feel about it right this moment, know that you are in a place of deep healing. Know that it will evolve you so much, make you so much more relatable, bring you so much closer to people. And all it will expose is your humanity. And all that will do is make everyone love you more than they already do. See, because here's the real laugh. We love you anyway. We love you pretty, we love you ugly. I know you hate that word. We love you pretty, we love you ugly, and everything in between. You couldn't be ugly if you tried. What you realize, first 2 weeks of October, let's say, is that maybe people even love you more than you ever thought. Because you've been thinking this whole time you got to run this marathon to get that love. No, you don't. You got to be perfect to get that love. No, you don't. You got to be beautiful to get that love. No, you don't. No, you don't. You can't fall off because then no one will love you. No, go ahead and fall off if you want to. Go ahead. Speaking from the outside, I will let you know. I will speak for all of us. We do it. We do it all the time. It's okay. The side effect that I'm happy about is that it'll make you feel like a part of things. And as much as you are the leader, I know how left out you feel. You never say anything about it. But I can't even count how many social Libra butterflies I've seen out at a party working a room. And you can just tell when you look in their eyes that they are so alone. But you're not. You're only human. Just like the rest of us, which makes you a part of the crew. I love you. All the links are below. Happy early birthday, baby.